A very good evening. You're watching Primetime News on TV1 live and direct from our Newsfirst studios in Colombo. Bringing you the news, I'm Jadavne.
And I am Hashini Patirano. Let's start off with a look at your headlines for tonight.
President Dissanayake undertakes official visit to the Maldives. Former Navy Commander Ulugethanna remanded until the 30th of July after being arrested over murder probe. Warrant issued for MP Namal Rajapaksa's arrest for failing to appear in court. Truck crane with malfunctioning brakes causes multi-vehicle collision in Boralla. 1 dead, 7 injured. Sri Lanka's export revenue for the first 6 months of 2025 exceeds $8 billion. Thailand and Cambodia agree to an immediate, unconditional ceasefire.
And on to those stories in detail. In your top story this evening, President Anurakumara Dissanayake departed for the Maldives this morning on a 3-day official visit following an invitation extended by Maldivian President Dr. Mohamed Muizzu. The visit marks a milestone in Sri Lanka-Maldives diplomatic relations, coinciding with the 60th anniversary of formal ties between the two nations. The President was afforded a warm welcome upon arrival. The official ceremony in honour of Sri Lankan President Anurakumara Dissanayake was held at the Republic Square in Male, presided over by Maldivian President Dr. Mohamed Muizzu. President Dissanayake was warmly received with a guard of honour from the Maldives National Defence Force. The President also received a gun salute. Following the welcome ceremony, Maldivian representatives and the Sri Lankan delegation were introduced to one another. President Anurakumara Dissanayake departed for the Maldives this morning with a delegation comprising Foreign Minister Vijay Herath and other senior officials. The President arrived in the Maldives at approximately 10 a.m. today and was welcomed by Maldivian President Dr. Mohamed Muizzu. The two heads of state also engaged in cordial discussions. The President is on an official visit to the Maldives following an invitation extended by the Maldivian President.
Spreading messages of welcome through this beautiful melody, the sky carries echoes of joy in honor of your arrival. Sri Lanka Anurakumara Dissanayake Fehi chalu divehi dibum
President Anurakumara Dissanayake and his counterpart issued a joint statement earlier today as part of the Sri Lankan President's 3-day official tour of the Maldives.
ශ්‍රී ලංකාව සහ මාලදීව අතර පවතින සමීප ද්වීපාර්ශ්වයක සබඳතා සුවදහ හවුල්කාරීත්වය සමීප මිත්‍රත්වය සහ අනාගත සහයෝගීතාවය සංකේතවත් කරන මාගේ පළ.
It is a great privilege for me to be here today in the city of Male, as this is my first official visit to the Maldives, aimed at signifying our close bilateral relations, our friendly partnership and our future collaborations between Sri Lanka and the Maldives. I believe this visit will bring renewed enthusiasm and further strengthen the relationship between our two countries. My visit to the Maldives marks a significant milestone as it coincides with the 60th anniversary of formal diplomatic ties between Sri Lanka and the Maldives. I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to the President of the Maldives, Dr. Mohamed Muizu, for the warm invitation, the gracious welcome and the hospitality extended to me and my delegation. Sri Lanka and the Maldives have strengthened their relationship over centuries, ensuring a long-term bond. Our two countries, located in the Indian Ocean, are deeply connected through historical, maritime trade routes and a shared history. A short while ago, we held bilateral discussions with President Muizu along with my delegation. We reviewed the current state of our relationship and discussed ways to strengthen collaboration across multiple sectors that will be mutually beneficial in the future.
වැදගත් වන ශේස්ත්‍රවල අපගේ සහයෝගිතාවේ තවදුරටත් ශක්තිමත් කළ හැකි ආකාරය පිළිබඳව අදහස් වමාරු කරගත්තා.
This year, as we mark 60 years of independence, we are also commemorating 60 years of a steadfast and time-honored friendship rooted in mutual respect and shared aspirations. I am confident that Your Excellency's visit to the Maldives will further strengthen the close neighborly bonds and broaden the scope of our engagements. During our discussions today, President Dissanayake and I explored avenues to expand cooperation across a wide range of areas, including trade, defense, education and vocational training, youth and sports, environment, fisheries and agriculture. I commended President Dissanayake for the progress made in overcoming the recent economic challenges faced by Sri Lanka. We are confident that under Your Excellency's able leadership, Sri Lanka will continue on a path towards a more resilient and inclusive economy. The treaty and the Memorandum of Understanding exchanged today reflects our shared commitment to further strengthening our close ties. I wish to extend my deepest appreciation to Your Excellency, your government and the people of Sri Lanka for your enduring friendship, unwavering support and generous assistance to the Maldives. I take this opportunity to reaffirm our commitment to stand by Sri Lanka and work together for the prosperity of both our countries. As we look towards the future, I am filled with confidence that the ties between the Maldives and Sri Lanka will continue to grow from strength to strength.
Former commander of the Sri Lanka Navy, Nishant Ulugetana, who was arrested by the Criminal Investigations Department, has been remanded until the 30th of July. Now, the former Navy commander was remanded after he was presented before the Polgahawala Magistrates Court.
The court ordered that the former Navy commander be presented for an identification parade on the 30th of July. The former Navy commander was then taken to the Kegol prison. He was arrested this afternoon by CID officials in connection with an investigation into the abduction and murder of an individual in the Potuhara area. At the time of the incident, Nishanta Ulugetana served as the head of naval intelligence, and the alleged victim was reportedly held in an illegal detention facility operated under his command. Police stated that the investigation was initiated based on a letter allegedly sent from the detention center many days later by the individual in question. Several suspects were previously arrested in connection with the case.
Case file.
Court has issued an arrest warrant for parliamentarian Namal Rajapaksa. Police stated that the warrant was issued as he failed to appear in the Hambantota Magistrates Court for a case related to a protest held in 2017 against the sale of the Hambantota port to China. The case has been filed under charges including unlawful assembly, violating court orders, causing damage to 3 SUVs, mischief and obstructing duties. Meanwhile, Attorney Sagara Karyavasam, General Secretary of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, stated that Namal Rajapaksa, the party's national organizer, departed for the Maldives this morning.
Former Minister Johnston Fernando says that intelligence reports have indicated that parliamentarian Namal Rajapaksa will be the next president. He made this revelation at a meeting held in Batewela, Ratnapura yesterday. They all know Namal is the next president. Intelligence units have submitted all the reports. It is true that the youngest leader in Asia will be Namal Rajapaksa. Leaders from several countries are speaking about this. We visited several foreign missions. All of them claim that our next president is Namal Rajapaksa.
Next president, ඊළඟ ජනාධිපති ඕගලන්ගේ නායකයා නාමල් රාජපක්ෂ මහත්මයා.
General Secretary of Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, Attorney at Law Sagara Karyavasam says that it is not a difficult task to elevate the party's national organizer Namal Rajapaksa to a position of leadership in the future.
As we travel from village to village, we see people gathering in large numbers, most of whom had voted for the Janata Vimukti Peramuna in the last presidential or parliamentary elections. These people now openly admit that they were misled. At this point, they not only express deep regret over having been deceived, but also show growing hostility towards the JVP for having misguided them. It has become increasingly evident that rebuilding the strength of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna and guiding the country under the future leadership of Namal Rajapaksa will not be a difficult task.
රට ගෙන යාම මං හිතන්නේ ඊතරම් අපහසු කාර්යයක් නෙමෙයි කියන කාරණේ තමයි මේ වෙනකොට ඉතාම පැහැදිලිව පෙනියන්නේ.
The Colombo High Court ordered that the case filed under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act against a former President Mahinda Rajapaksa's son, Yoshitha Rajapaksa, and his grandmother, Daisy Forrest, be taken up on the 22nd of September. This order was issued when the case was called before Colombo High Court Judge Sahan Mapa Bandara today.
Case file.
President's counsel Sampath Mendis, appearing for Yoshitha Rajapaksa, informed the court that 26 CDs containing email messages used in preparing the forensic audit report, which has been presented as evidence in the case, along with several other electronic devices, need to be examined by the defense. The State Counsel stated that there was no objection to this request. The Attorney General has filed the case alleging that Yoshitha Rajapaksa committed an offence under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act by unlawfully acquiring assets and property valued at approximately 73 million rupees.
A truck crane collided with several vehicles near the Boralla Cemetery roundabout this morning. One person was killed in the accident while 7 others were injured. Hospital sources said that the condition of 4 of the injured is reported to be critical.
The accident took place at around 7:30 a.m. this morning. A speeding truck crane collided with 6 motorcycles, 2 cars and an SUV that was stationary at signal lights close to the Boralla Cemetery roundabout. The injured were rushed to hospital while one motorcyclist succumbed to his injuries. The deceased was a resident of Athurugeria. Police said that the truck crane continued for about 40 meters without stopping due to brake failure.
මෙයාට ඕන නම් අනිත් පැත්තට දකුණට කපන්න තිබුණා කනතපතේ ඒ වුණාට දුන්නේ නැහැ.
මේ මෙතන නතර කරන් ඉන්න බයික් එක ඔක්කොම යට කරගෙන යනවා ඉස්සරහට. නතර කරගන්න මෙයාට තිබුණා අර ගහටකාරිය මේ හොඳ වෙලා ඇල්ලුවා නා. මෙයා සෑහෙන ස්පීඩ් එකේ ආවිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒක
මෙතන traffic light.
While we were stopped at the traffic lights here, it suddenly crashed into us with a loud bang. At first I thought a tree had fallen. It had hit a tree branch as well, and then all the vehicles were pushed forward, even knocking bicycles on top of each other.
Meanwhile, police said that 4 of the 7 injured individuals are in critical condition. Among them are 2 police officers, one from the Bribery Commission and the other from the Criminal Records Division. The driver of the truck crane involved in the accident has been taken into custody. Preliminary medical reports have confirmed that the driver was under the influence of cannabis at the time of the accident. An inspection conducted on the truck crane by the officials from the Department of Motor Traffic confirmed that its brakes were not functioning.
1,446 fatal road accidents have been reported in the country so far this year, resulting in 1,532 deaths. This marks a clear increase compared to the same period last year. From the 1st of January to the 26th of July 2024, there were 1,290 road accidents, claiming the lives of 1,352 individuals.
Approximately 3,000 lives are lost each year due to road accidents in Sri Lanka, a staggering figure comparable to fatalities during wartime. We witnessed several tragic incidents recently resulting in significant loss of life. Numerous factors contribute to these accidents. One key aspect we have identified is the urgent need to foster disciplined drivers. If we can achieve this, it would allow us to enforce traffic laws more fairly and justly against those who disregard them.
Although the government has intervened in purchasing paddy harvest of the Yalla season, farmers are still raising concerns that they are not receiving a fair price. The following report sheds light on those concerns.
In an effort to support farmers during the Yalla harvest, the government recently announced fixed purchasing prices for paddy. 120 rupees per kilogram of nadu, 125 rupees for samba and 132 rupees for kiri samba. A budget allocation of 6 billion rupees has been set aside for this program, which also includes plans to buy wet paddy. Currently, farmers in areas like Damsopura and Pahalagama in Madirigiri of the Polonnaruwa district are in the midst of harvesting, but many say they are struggling to fetch a fair price for their crops. According to these farmers, paddy is being bought for less than 100 rupees per kilogram. They also argue that the price set for wet paddy is far from sufficient to cover their costs.
These vendors are buying paddy for just around 98 rupees to 99 rupees per kilogram. Meanwhile, fertilizer prices have soared to between 9,000 rupees and 9,500 rupees per bag, having increased twice this season. Even though input costs have gone up, the price we get for our paddy has gone down. We need to be able to sell wet paddy for at least 115 rupees to 120 rupees per kilogram. Otherwise, it's becoming extremely difficult to manage our daily expenses. The government has set the price at 102 rupees per kilogram, but only 2 or 3 farmers are actually getting that rate. It's not reaching the rest of us. Most of us are farming on loans. All we are asking for is fairness. We just want a fair deal so we can keep going.
Farmers allege that the paddy warehouse in Digawapia is currently being used to store sugar, leaving no room for their harvest. They allege that they are being forced to store paddy at their homes.
Even though the harvest is low, we have no way to sell it. The warehouse is filled with sugar, so there's no space. Private traders don't come and mill owners aren't buying. There was a price offered in the early days, but now no one is buying at any rate. We're afraid to store the harvest at home because elephants might destroy it. We need a fair solution to this. The paddy warehouse has now become a sugar warehouse. Sugar has been stored there for more than 2 or 3 years. The big building was constructed as a paddy warehouse, but it has never been opened for that purpose.
General Secretary of the Parakum Farmers Front, Sudat Pereira, says that the government's promised paddy purchasing is not taking place as announced.
Instead of delivering justice to these farmers, the Minister of Agriculture has been travelling around the country holding media events. At these events, he talks about irrelevant issues like waivers and reservoirs, seemingly trying to distract people and divide the farmers with empty promises. As a result, the farming community is left even more confused and burdened. At the very least, shouldn't the Agriculture Minister visit areas like Polonnaruwa, Anuradhapura and Trincomalee and ensure that farmers get their paddy harvest purchased at a guaranteed fair price? Would he discuss such matters by going to the actual farms and speaking directly with the farmers? So far, that hasn't happened.
Meanwhile, the Paddy Marketing Board says that around 3,500 metric tons of paddy from the Yalla season have been purchased. Chairman of the board, Manjula Pinalanda, confirmed that government paddy storage facilities have been opened in all harvesting areas.
Currently, all the government storage facilities in the harvesting areas have been opened for paddy purchases. As of the day before yesterday evening, around 3,500 metric tons have been collected. Given the current weather conditions, farmers are able to harvest their crops properly properly and dry the paddy. We are encouraging farmers to harvest, clean and bring their paddy to us. So far, approximately 20% of the total harvest has been gathered, with around 80% left. We are hopeful that even large-scale businesses will provide paddy to us. We urge them to harvest and remove the husk so they can deliver it to us. Our main goal is to collect this paddy as a buffer stock, prepare for times when there may be a shortage of rice during the year.
News First with the people.
What we need for Sri Lanka for the moment is the economic growth, because our debt becomes sustainable, our revenue is going to increase based on the growth that we take.
Face these type of issues, and within that plan, how to so increase imports from the United States, which should in the future allow them to bring down the tariffs.
I said you all must get together, otherwise there is no future for the SLP, and that is exactly what has happened. Today they have split into 3 camps, 3 groups, 3 factions, and they are trying their level best to see what they could do.
I mean, school education is
curriculum.
Yeah, curriculum, but not just because of the curriculum. I think we need to have them in a proper way all throughout the society. I mean, we do have many things in our curriculum, but we rarely find them in action.
Are you the one with a talent the world has never seen? A visionary genius pushing the boundary of skill, a fearless champion. To Sri Lanka's Got Talent PO Box 100 Ratmalana, or WhatsApp us on 076 599 7788.
And on to news overseas, the United States and the European Union have reached a trade agreement putting an end to their long-running dispute. This deal resolves tensions between 2 of the world's largest economies. The United States and European Union have agreed a trade deal ending a months-long standoff between 2 of the world's biggest economic partners. After make-or-break negotiations between President Donald Trump and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen in Scotland, the pair agreed a US tariff on all EU goods of 15%. That is half the 30% import tax Trump had threatened to implement starting on Friday. He said the 27-member bloc would open its markets to US exporters with 0% tariffs on certain products.
European Union is going to agree to purchase from the United States $750 billion worth of energy. $750 billion worth of energy. They are going to agree to invest into the United States $600 billion more than they're investing already. They're agreeing to open up their countries to trade at 0 tariff. So that's a very big factor. Opening up their countries, all of the countries will be opened up to trade with the United States at 0 tariff. And they're agreeing to purchase a vast amount of military equipment. We don't know what that number is, but it's the good news is we make the best military equipment in the world, so sort of you have to do that. We are agreeing that the tariff straight across for automobiles and everything else will be a straight across tariff of 15%. It's great that we made a deal today instead of playing games and maybe not making a deal at all. I think it's I'm going to let you say, but I think it's the biggest deal ever made.
We have a deal. We have a trade deal between the 2 largest economies in the world. and it's a big deal, it's a huge deal. It will bring stability, it will bring predictability. That's very important for our businesses on both sides of the Atlantic. It's 15% tariffs across the board, all inclusive. The investments Mr. President just described, that going to go to the United States and the purchases over there. Indeed, basically the European market is open. It's 450 million people. So it's a good deal. It's a huge deal. Yeah. It was tough negotiations. I knew it at the beginning, and it was indeed very tough, but we came to good conclusions for both sides. So again, congratulations and many thanks.
Trump said the EU would boost its investment in the US by $600 billion, including American military equipment, and spend $750 billion on energy. Von der Leyen said that investment over the next 3 years in American liquefied natural gas, oil and nuclear fuels would help reduce European reliance on Russian power sources. Some goods will not attract any tariffs, including aircraft and plane parts, certain chemicals and some agricultural products. A separate deal on semiconductors may be announced soon. He said, but a 50% US tariff Trump has implemented on steel and aluminium globally would stay in place. Trump has wielded tariffs against major US trade partners in a bid to reorder the global economy and trim the American trade deficit. US President Donald Trump said that he was setting a new 10 or 12-day deadline for Russia over its war in Ukraine, underscoring his frustration with Russian President Vladimir Putin for prolonging fighting between the two sides. Speaking in Scotland, where he is holding meetings with European leaders and playing golf, Trump said he was disappointed in Putin and shortening a 50-day deadline he had set on the issue earlier this month.
I would have said 5 times we would have had a deal. I've spoken to President Putin a lot. I got along with him very well, but 5 times, and every time 4 times maybe, but we've had discussions, you and I have had discussions. Yeah. We thought we had that settled numerous times, and then President Putin goes out and starts launching rockets into some city like Kiev and kills a lot of people in a nursing home or whatever. You have bodies lying all over the street. And I say that's not the way to do it. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm very disappointed. I'm disappointed in President Putin. Very disappointed in him. So we're going to have to look, and I'm going to reduce that 50 days that I gave him to a lesser number because I think I already know the answer what's going to happen.
Into more news from overseas, Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim says that Thailand and Cambodia have agreed to an immediate and unconditional ceasefire in an effort to resolve deadly border clashes.
Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim says Thailand and Cambodia have agreed to an immediate and unconditional ceasefire in an effort to resolve deadly border clashes. The acting Thai Prime Minister and Cambodian Prime Minister met on Monday for ceasefire talks at Anwar's official residence in Malaysia's administrative capital, Putrajaya.
Both Cambodia and Thailand reached a common understanding as follows. 1. An immediate and unconditional ceasefire with effect from 24 hours local time, midnight, on 28th July 2025, tonight. This is a vital first step towards de-escalation and the restoration of peace and security. Second, to convene an informal meeting of regional commanders, Regional Military 1 and 2 on the Thai side, and Regional Military 4 and 5 on the Cambodian side at 7 hours on 29th July 2025, which means tomorrow morning.
Immediately the fighting that have caused many life loss, injuries, and also caused a lot of displacement of people. We have about a total of 300,000 both sides of refugees, 140,000 on Cambodian side, 160,000 on Thai side. We hope that the solutions that Prime Minister Anwar just announced will set a condition for moving forward for our bilateral discussion to return to normalcy of the relationship and as a foundation for future de-escalation of forces. I also extend my deep appreciation to President Donald Trump for his decisive mediation on 26 July 2025. Cambodia values the effort of the United States and thanks its government for organizing this crucial meeting in support of peace. I wish also to thank the government of China for Republic of China and for effort and also participating in this process in order to achieve the outcome, the positive outcome that we have today.
I would like to express my sincere appreciation to Prime Minister Anwar, the government of China and President Trump for your good view and concern. Today's outcome reflects Thailand's desire for peaceful dissolution, while continuing to protect our sovereignty and the life of our people. We agree to a ceasefire with assurance measures that it will be carried out successfully in good faith by both sides.
The ambassadors of the United States and China were also present at the meeting. Taking a look back at local news, there have been many incidents of wild elephants being shot and killed in recent times. Incidentally, this period has been a difficult one for Sri Lanka's farmers as well.
The paddy harvesting season is also a period when elephant activity draws heightened attention. A herd of wild elephants that entered Nagampaha in the Anuradhapura district last night caused damage to crops. Farmers say these elephants enter villages from the Rasvehera reserve.
මේ ගම්මාන මේ කිහිපයකටම ගොඩාක් අලි ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවා. එද හැමදාම මම මේ හවස 5-7 වෙනකොට අලි වැතුරු වෙලා තියෙන බවභෝග සියල්ලම විනාශ කරනවා ඉතින්. මාස 3-4ක් තිස්සක දුක් මහන්සිලා රැකලා කරන එක අලින් ඇවිල්ලා ඉතින් ඇත්තටම එක දවසින්ම ඉවර කරනවා ඉතින්. ඉතින් අලි හැම තිස්සෙම ඉන්නවා. දවසම මේ මිනිස්සු රැක්කත් රැ වෙනකොට කොහොම හරි පැනලා කොතනින් හරි තැනින් දැන කනවා ඉතින්.
On the nights of yesterday and the day before, a herd of wild elephants entered the Maningamua and Pahalahalmilava areas, damaging 2 houses and a shop. This is how the paddy stored by farmers with much difficulty was destroyed by elephants.
ඒකාලියෙක් ආවේ ඉල්ලවිල්ලා ඉස්සල්ලාම දොර මේ කැඩුවා උළුහව්වයි දොරයි ඊට පස්සේ අපේ ඔසින් මැෂින් එක ඇදලා ඒක එළියට දාලා බිච්චිය තල්ලු කරන්න හැදුවා වී තිබ්බේ හින්දා මේ තල්ලු කරගන්න බැරි වුණා ඊට පස්සේ කකුල දොර ගාවට තියලා හොඬේ දාලා ඇදලා ගත්තේ.
ඉතින් වෙනද නම් අපි මේ කාමරේ නිදාගන්නේ පොඩි අයත් එක්ක ඊයේ වෙලාවට අපි මේ කාමරේ නිදාගත්තේ නැහැ සාලේ නිදාගත්තී කාමරේ නිදාගත්තා නම් මොනවා වේද කියලා හිතා ගන්න බෑ. බෑග් එකේ තිබ්බේ මේ කාමරේ බෑග් එක ඇදලා ගත්තේ ඇදලා අරන් මේ
Meanwhile, a herd of wild elephants that entered the Bandaranayake College premises in Mapakadawewa, Mahyanganaya at night was captured roaming the school grounds on the CCTV system installed at the school. The human-elephant conflict isn't a novel issue. One major cause is human activities that are destroying elephant habitats. Another reason is wild elephants encroaching on villagers in search of food. There may be many factors contributing to this conflict. However, a new and serious concern has now emerged. Elephants in the wild are being shot. How is this happening? Soon after the current government came into power, it confiscated licensed weapons and began investigating the proper return of those firearms. So, where are the guns coming from that are being used to shoot wild elephants? Whose weapons are these? This must be investigated immediately. Who is shooting the wild elephants? Whose guns are being used? Where are they coming from? Meanwhile, despite the many challenges faced by our people, they still come forward to protect and rescue elephants in distress. Wildlife officials and villagers worked tirelessly to rescue a baby elephant that had fallen into a cultivation well in Nikavawa, Oyamaduwa, Anuradhapura. The calf, estimated to be around 1 month old, was carefully pulled out of the 20-foot deep cultivation well and was safely released back into the wild. A vital fact that must be highlighted is this: will harmless farmers in Sri Lanka step forward to end a life of an elephant? If not them, then which entity is responsible for the sudden surge of killing of elephants in its own habitat?
Sri Lanka's export revenue rose to $8.3 billion in the first 6 months of 2025. This reflects a growth of 6.7% compared to the same period in 2024.
The Export Development Board announced that total exports, including merchandise and services, stood at $1,460.34 million in June this year. This marks an increase of 8.73% compared to June 2024. In June this year alone, merchandise exports rose by 6.85% to $1,150.73 million. From January to June, merchandise export earnings reached $6,504.72 million. This reflects an increase of 5.86% compared to the same period in 2024. In June 2025, income from service exports is estimated at $309.61 million. This is an increase of 16.38% compared to the same month in 2024. Service exports grew by 9.78% in the first 6 months of this year, reaching an estimated $1,833.14 million.
In June, significant growth was seen in the garment industry and tea exports, as well as in coconut-based products, processed foods and beverages, jewelry and gem. There was also notable growth in other agricultural equipment and agricultural export crops. In terms of export destinations, exports to the United States amounted to $252 million in June. Exports also showed considerable growth in countries such as the United Kingdom, India, Italy, Germany, Switzerland, Australia and France. Regionally, European countries recorded strong growth in exports, while exports to African countries increased by 58%. Exports to the Middle East and Asian countries also showed a significant increase in June. This overall growth is largely attributed to the efforts of exporters in overcoming challenges in the international market, as well as initiatives to diversify export products and expand market access.
Motorists in the Western Province can now pay traffic fines through the GovPay digital platform starting today.
Under the National Digitalization Policy, GovPay has introduced a convenient method for drivers to pay traffic violation fines. The pilot project began 3 months ago, focusing on 12 police stations from Kurunegala to Anuradhapura. Starting today, the GovPay system for local fine collection, implemented jointly by Sri Lanka Police, the Ministry of Digital Economy and the Ministry of Transport and Highways, will be expanded to cover all roads, including expressways in the Western Province.
By integrating technology and ensuring transparency, this process helps not only the public but also police officers to avoid false accusations. As the IGP mentioned, introducing the on-the-spot fine system may create the risk of repeat offenders or encourage careless behavior in some cases. However, the primary aim of this initiative is not just to generate government revenue but to reduce road accidents and prevent traffic violations. Moving forward, a points-based system will also be introduced for drivers' licenses. Drivers who repeatedly commit offences will accumulate penalty points, which could eventually lead to the suspension of their driving licence. This system will be implemented in parallel with GovPay. Today we are providing 1,000 mobile phones to police officers working in the Western Province and on expressways. These phones were donated free of charge by Lanka Pay. Additionally, Mobitel has contributed by providing 1,000 SIM cards also free of charge. We hope that in the coming months, with the support of the IGP and other senior police officials, we will be able to distribute these phones to officers in the north, east and other regions as well. In the near future, we also aim to provide even more advanced smartphones to make the system even more efficient. In areas like Colombo, where traffic violations are frequent and tickets are issued non-stop, this system will be especially useful. With this new system, since fines can be paid instantly, there is no longer a need for temporary slips or additional paperwork from police officers. This will significantly streamline the entire process.
University Industry Collaboration Day 2025, organized by the Department of Civil Engineering at the University of Peradeniya, was held in Colombo today.
The University Industry Collaboration Day 2025, organized by the Department of Civil Engineering at the University of Peradeniya, aims to foster dialogue, promote mentorship and inspire innovation by connecting students and researchers with leaders in the engineering profession. The event is a premier platform to showcase research undertaken by undergraduate and postgraduate students and to highlight successful university industry collaborative projects. Chief guest for the event, Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya, highlighted the importance of STEM education in the education sector.
At this moment in time, when we are looking at reforming our education sector and looking at how we can make our education system more relevant to the world that we live in, this kind of collaboration is a really good initiative. As a country, we are struggling with STEM education for multiple reasons. So we really need to look at this issue, and this is not just an issue of people or young people not interested in STEM education, it's simply a problem of equality and access. We know that very few schools are able to offer A-levels STEM education in the A-levels, and this is precisely what we are trying to change in the education reforms that we are discussing, where accessibility to all of these subjects will be much more equitable. However, I think we also want to reinforce something, that I think we need to also break out of our focus on sticking to our own very narrow disciplinary traditions. I think the world is moving towards much more multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary approaches, because I think we all understand that the world is evolving in a way, and that the problems that are presented to us are far more complex and much more complicated than some problems that can be resolved or responded to within one particular discipline. So this multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary approach is something that we need to cultivate from our school education system itself, where we encourage interdisciplinary, cross-disciplinary conversations and dialogues that will respond more effectively to how we respond to real-world problems, but also how we create the kind of knowledge systems and the approaches within our young people to be able to approach a problem from multiple perspectives. So this is something that we are increasingly working on, in looking at how we can expand our focus and create the kind of education system that is more responsive to the kinds of problems that our world is increasingly presenting to us.
The event underscores the department's commitment to nurturing a research culture that is responsive to the needs of the industry, while providing valuable learning opportunities for undergraduate and postgraduate students. By integrating academic rigor with practical relevance, the University Industry Collaboration Day 2025 marks a significant step forward to advance civil engineering for the betterment of society. The newly formed Digital Journalists Association of Sri Lanka was launched today.
With the challenges emerging alongside the expansion of digital media, this association was launched with the aim of creating a collective for journalists working in the field.
We have been in this field for about 15 years now. We have made mistakes too, and we are now taking a step back to correct them. Our team first discussed that we need to fix our mistakes. We need to be ethical. We are the ones who provide information to the country and the world. Right now, we are in a time of major transformation in the way information is shared. Our country is lagging behind in many ways, so it is important for us to deliver accurate information. We must be ethical in how we do it. The reality is that those here today are our competitors. We are talking about the main channels in Sri Lanka, YouTubers and online news creators. There is heavy competition, but we've stepped back to address our shortcomings and formed this collective. We also invite others to join us so we can work together and move forward with proper practices. We don't need labels like that person is a YouTuber or that one is from Facebook anymore. We believe that through this collective we can reach some form of agreement, establish a proper ethical standard and work together moving forward.
And that's a wrap of your news for tonight.
Thank you for watching. Good night.